What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the HOMES Brewery, and they're out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, and this is their King Cold Brew Coconut. So they're calling this one Imperial Cream Ale with Ethiopian coffee and coconut. It comes in at 7.9% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. This can is exactly, yes, exactly 1 year old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Jeff, aka NoJinx, for hooking me up with this one. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with. He hooked me up with some HOMES beers and some Ferndale Project beers, and this is the first of the bunch that I'm reviewing. Why? Because I want to review this on the 1 year anniversary of when they canned it. So this series, their King Cold Brew series, is basically an Imperial Cream Ale with different kinds of coffee. They've released probably like 30 plus different variants, but I believe, and Jeff and even Phil and anybody else in Michigan can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was the first time they canned any of the King Cold Brew beers, and they also aged this one on toasted coconut. So I'm really looking forward to it. Will the coffee and coconut hold up? Jeff has said that he had one recently, I think, and he said it's holding up quite well. And yeah, I'm really pumped up for it. So I'm going to pour it into the Genesee and other half Jenny Dream Ale glass, just because Genesee Cream Ale is my favorite cream ale. This is technically cream ale, even though it's an Imperial Cream Ale with coffee and coconut. We'll see. Anyway, let's give it a pour. Now, I absolutely love coffee cream ales. And the reason why is because I just think the coffee plays so well with the cream ale base, and a lot of times they'll add a little bit of lactose or other characters. My favorite from like a bigger brewery was Ballast Point, their Calm Before the Storm coffee cream ale. That was really good. I've had others too. I've had a toasted coconut cream ale here. Didn't have coffee in it from Stone Air. That was really good. I just enjoy adjunct cream ales. I don't know. So yeah, does that look like a cream ale? No, it does not. I don't know what that looks like. It has no head anymore. It has this honestly looks like an oxidized EQ double IPA. No, it kind of, it looks thinner. It almost looks like a sour ale or something. But yeah, it's like a murky kind of like not grayish, brownish kind of red color. Looks really interesting, almost like a red ale. I don't know how it's gonna come off on camera, but it has no head, decent carbonation, but yeah, it fizzed away the head. So let's get a nose. It smells awesome. It smells like cold brew coffee. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a substantial cold brew coffee kind of feel. It's like a medium roast. It's hitting the nostrils. Then I'm getting a little bit of that toasted coconut. There's a sweetness here too that would scream like maybe lactose or maybe vanilla. That it feels like it's a vanilla sweetness. Am I getting any of the Imperial Cream Ale? Not really. Like, I'm not getting any kind of malt character that would scream cream ale or any kind of hop character. Again, this is a year old. It honestly just smells like a cup of cold brew with a little bit of, I wouldn't even say toasted coconut. I'd say more like freshly shaved coconut, but it's not toasted. Just something like that. But yeah, the coffee's held up. The coconut's definitely there, so pretty interesting. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Jeff. That's nice. I would say, and I didn't have this fresh, so this is starting to fall off a little bit. I know I said that Jeff said it held up. I don't remember, Jeff, last time you had this or last time you checked it in on tap. I remember him drinking this one in, I want to say it was like July or August, and he was like, oh, it's still pretty, holding up pretty well. I think it's starting to fall off a little bit. But I think this one's like medium, touch over medium, 7.9%, maybe a bit thin, but I think that adds to the drinkability. The mouthfeel, despite the head fizzing away, there's some decent carbonation still here. It's like moderately carbonated. It's a really nice smooth nature to the beer as well. The taste, right at the forefront, I'm hit with coffee. It's a predominant note, carries down through the palate. It's like a medium roast, like cold brew coffee. Not a big acidity. A lot of times with cold brew, you don't get that. That's part of the reason cold brew is a thing is, the acidity is not as high. I'm getting a touch of it, but not much. This isn't also overly bitter. Another thing with cold brew, at least for me, I don't get a lot of bitterness a lot of times. But it's a predominant note, coffee everywhere. There's an underlying slight malty sensation, like a bready thing going on. This is the thing. I wouldn't be able to tell you this is an Imperial Cream Ale base if I was doing this blind or as a whodunit beer review. I think the coffee dominates to some degree. Middle through the palate, I'm hit with a little bit of like, again, a shaved fresh coconut. It's not toasted. And then there's this underlying almost like, again, why I wouldn't say it's Imperial Cream Ale. There's a, outside of the coffee, like a slight like toasted roasty quality, like to the malt sensation. I mean, I feel like the malt character here is kind of providing like a toasty, roasty thing, but it's Imperial Cream Ale, so that is incorrect. The finish is really cool because it finishes with a little bit of that coconut. And then to me, it's like someone put a shot of like caramel or like vanilla in there because it has a little bit of a sweet kind of like cold brew coffee with a shot of caramel or vanilla in it. That's what I'm getting on the finish. Finish is semi to full on dry. There's a very mild bitterness. Yeah, I think this has fallen off a little bit, but I still enjoy it. Is it amazing? No, and I could see where this beer, if I would have had it relatively fresh, would probably be blowing my socks off. I think that coconut would have been a little bit more impactful. I don't know if I get the base beer or not. So Jeff or Phil or anybody else who's had this in Michigan, did you ever get like the Imperial Cream Ale base? Because I think it's just kind of propping up all the, you know, the two adjuncts in here. 7.9%, little warming in the chest, nothing on the palate. Yeah, it's drinking like a cup of cold brew coffee, a little bit of coconut and a caramel and vanilla shot. It's carbonated, so that's different, obviously. But I wouldn't necessarily, if I was doing this blind, there's no way I'm telling you it's Imperial Cream Ale. But is it a fun beer to try? Yeah. Do I enjoy it? Yes. It's really tasty. It's just, I can tell this is falling off at a year old. No fault to Jeff. I mean, for like the last 6 months, I've been telling Jeff, don't send me a beer mail because I've had so much beer. Finally, it was just, I'm going to do it. And he was saving a can for me, so he sent it my way. So it's not like he, you know, purposely sent me an old can and was like, dude, it's going to be amazing. He was like, it's held up well from when I've had it. We'll see what you think about it. And what I think about it's a pretty good beer. I just not blowing my socks off. So King Cold Brew Coconut from Homes, you got to be honest, and I think this is really tasty, but it definitely has fallen off. I could see fresh this being in like the 4.5 range. It's guess like 4.4 to 4.6, depending on some factors. But I'm going to have to knock it down because I'm not drinking it fresh and I can't do what ifs. Like what if, you know, this was, a month old as opposed to a year old. I got to rate it on what I'm drinking and I enjoy this one and it's just not as good as it could have been fresh. So I'm going to give this beer, and I like the label art too. If you flip it upside down, it's like a mirror image. But I'm going to give this beer a straight 4 out of 5. That's best I can probably do with it right now. I don't think, I mean, to even with age on it, to get it a little bit higher for me, the one thing I'd like to see is a little bit more of the coconut and some kind of just characteristic whatsoever from the cream ale. Like I think that roasty toasty thing's coming from the cream ale, but again, cream ale doesn't usually have roasty toasty flavor. So I don't know. Price point availability. I think these were brewery only. Jeff, Phil, anybody correct me if I'm wrong. I did look on their Instagram. This was $15 for a 4-pack of these energy drink cans. So you're talking about, $3.75 for a can of this all day, every day, 8%, almost 8% cream ale or Imperial Cream Ale with that's coffee and coconut. With coffee and coconut, yeah, I would easily pay, $4 a can to try this. It's really nice. It is really nice. It's a shame because I'm getting whispers of what I think this beer could have been fresh. So if they ever release this, Jeff, again, or another variant and they do cans, I would love to try a relatively fresh can of it. I'm just saying that now because I think fresh, I would just love this beer. So anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. What I like about this too is while it's not like, it's mildly bitter, decent dryness, it's not overly sweet. There's a little bit of sweetness here, obviously from the almost 8% beer itself, but it's kind of holding itself in check, and I'm going to drink the rest of that can and have no issues with it. So I'm really happy about that. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. If you've had any of the cold brew or King Cold Brew variants from Homes, post in the comment section. Let me know what's your favorite. Thanks again to Jeff for this beer. This is the first of many I'll be reviewing over the next month or two on the channel from him. So cheers, Jeff. Cheers, everybody. To the next one.